Well,
Wait, what's gross?
So let's say a man sleeps with a woman, and he has this, idea in his head, or I shouldn't say, idea in his head. If he has this expectation of being in the long term, or looking for a long-term thing, and he sleeps with a woman, and then asks what her body count is because it matters to him, shame on him. Because he didn't, then she probably would not have done what she did if she knew.
Isn't that just masking her behavior? Isn't that just manipulating her behavior to suit the guy, to suit what she thinks he wants, when really, if you've just slept with him anyway, well then that's a great indicator. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Christine Grace, and today is another reaction video. Today I'm reacting to some more clips from the Whatever podcast. I've mentioned before, this is definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. Today's topic is surrounding does body count matter? If you've been following me for a little while, you know my opinion on this. However, I'm gonna reserve it and see what these lovely ladies have to say before I give my take. Let's get straight into it.
should body count matter, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, wait, well, here, let me start over here, and then
sorry.
we'll come to that. That's fine.
For the man or the woman?
Both?
I think kind of. I think it's more about how you go about your relationships, regardless of the number, and how you treat each partner and how you enter and exit those engagements. And that should be more reflective of you than just a number. So yes and no.
What was the question?
Should body count matter?
Yeah, for the most part.
It's a conversation I don't like
pouring?
to talk. Ask. It's.
Wait, what?
What are you
It's
pouring?
nasty.
Water?
What does it matter? Why do you want to know? With your partner, so it's just one of those things where it's that was your life, this was my life, that's not who I am, or that's not who you are, and stuff. It's meet me where. It's not a subject that you want to discuss.
You are so far away from the microphone. I don't think
it's
anybody
not a
can hear
subject to discuss. It's
Body count?
what's the point of you telling me you screwed an X amount? It's am I supposed to be impressed or grossed out? It's not something that I would like talking about.
You don't like talking about body count?
No, that's nasty.
Do you ask
Because
your
yes,
partner?
there are diseases out there. I'm sorry.
But you can't get a disease from talking about body count.
But I'm not going to judge someone on body count and stuff either.
So it
It's
doesn't matter to you whatsoever?
I don't want to know.
Oh.
Even if you're
so I
dating
think
that
that what
person.
you're saying
It's
is that it does matter to you, because
But,
if it was
okay.
high, it
It's
would
if you
bother
need to go to the bathroom for whatever reason, I do not need to know what your reason is to go to the restroom. That is your business.
Word. Okay. Well,
Go to the bathroom,
here's a
boo.
different question. Would it upset you if a guy who, either on a first, second date, if a guy asked you what your body count was?
I think that would be kind of an immature, that would be me, hard pass on you, I gotta go.
Okay, I'll come back to that. I want to get everyone's answer on this, though. Go ahead, and then we'll come back around.
I would want to know why he needs to know, because if it really, that guy's comment, he was it was so in depth and stuff, but I don't know if all men are thinking that deep into it, or they're just oh, is she ran through or not, or whatever. But it's I would want to know why, and if you are someone to make snap judgments on people, if they asked me and wanted to know my whole sexual history, I'd have no problem being open. But if they just wanted to call me a slut if it was over a certain number, then I'd be fuck off.
No, but they might want to use it as a criteria for disqualifying you from pursuing you further.
I honestly think that's fair. If that's what they want in a partner, that's what they want.
Sure.
If that's part of their criteria, maybe that's not somebody I want to be with. We're not a match.
Yeah.
Move on.
Okay.
There you go.
What about you?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what? Yeah?
It does. Does it
No.
matter? You said does it matter? Was that the
No,
question?
the question, I
Sorry.
switched it to,
Oh, okay.
would you take an issue if a guy was asked you on a first or second date or something fairly early on, let's say,
Yeah, early on is
about your body
disrespectful.
count?
Yeah, I think that's
disrespectful.
it's not disrespectful as much as it is immature and novice, and it's just
It's immature and novice? Okay.
yeah, it's more of a question that you ask once you are willing to consider settling down with them. Or
That's when you should ask the question?
Or not settling down.
What
as
if you
in
didn't want to
marriage.
waste time? What
But
if you-
Well, if I didn't
But
want to
with it-
waste time, I'll ask for your bank statements. It's all right, let's see the bank statement. You want to know my body count? Let's get that personal then. It's just, there's certain things that it's tacky.
Well, the difference there, I would say, is there's no way to. I mean, you can look at a woman's behavior, you can sort of look at their appearance and make, to some degree, a judgment over potential promiscuity or body count. But if a guy tells you that he's a mechanical engineer in this city, you can just go on to, what's the website where you can look at people's
Like a white pages,
profile
like what,
of
yeah, well, there's
job?
there's websites where you can just like
see how much they
just
earn.
a background
see,
check
like,
type of thing.
No, not see
can
how
find
much
their salary.
specifically they earn, but you say here's their rate.
Oh,
like,
Glassdoor?
Like
Like,
Glassdoor,
yeah,
you can
got
see.
you.
Okay, a software engineer in San Francisco is making likely to be making X amount. So I mean, if someone tells you they're
Also, you can change your salary, but you can't change your body count. There's two arguments here. Body count is a direct kind of indicator, at least, to past behavior. And we know for a fact that generally 99% of the time, people tend to follow pretty similar patterns of behavior. But when it comes to salary, you know, there's two things, because you could make the argument of, well, if he has a good job and a good paying salary, then he's competent, and you know that behavior can be reflected through the salary. But then there's also the other argument, which is that maybe he's young. You know, as a dude, I think most guys hit their peak salary in their 50s. You know, maybe he's young, and you know, maybe he's just not come across the right opportunity yet. Something like salary can fluctuate, whereas obviously something like body count, you know, you're at the number you're at. That can't go up nor down. So there's not really the same metric.
a certain career, you're going to have a sense of their earnings. It's not foolproof, but whereas with body count, it's kind of up in the air.
Yeah, but I've misread guys before, and then like once we get into the body count conversation, like their body count is significantly like just lower than I thought it would be. I'd be like, oh, you're like a 30, 40, you're an entertainer, you do this, you do that, and they're like, nope, been with a handful of chicks in my whole life. And it's really like, but then it starts clicking as I see like how do they treat women outside and all this other stuff.
Well, I feel like as dudes, I mean, you have to go through, I mean, me personally, like I went through, you know, a stage where I was knocking them down or whatever. But as you get older, like you realize, well, like now I only have sex with women that I would date. So if I won't even date you, I won't even have sex with you because it's a waste of time. I'm busy. I don't have time to do all that.
It's interesting. Some people don't have to go through the hoe phase to see that too. And
Well,
I
yeah,
don't know
true.
what that-
But a lot of guys
what
can't
that
even have a
entails,
hoe
but-
phase. A guy has to be able to have a hoe phase. Like any girl can have a hoe phase, but a guy,
I don't
every
think he
guy
needs
can't
to.
have a hoe phase.
I think a
Yeah,
guy
that's
doesn't
true.
I agree.
have to have a hoe phase.
Where are you going with it?
I just think that there's
like,
different levels
you have a
of
point?
like
You got
emotional
incline.
intelligence. Like for me, yeah, I'm
agree with you. I
older,
thought you were
and
saying
I shouldn't have been here because I'm older, because you know it's a different crowd. However, it's like if someone were to start a conversation with me like that, I would be like, you know, my brain cells does
Eric's
not
closing
really
the
have
door.
the capacity for this conversation.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Can you close the door, Eric?
I think that. Can I jump in? Okay.
Let me have her go
okay.
first. So if a guy on a first or second date asks you, "What's your body count?"
I obviously
Would you take an issue with it?
I'm always upfront with
Okay.
everybody that I'm talking about, my friends,
Yeah.
my family, everybody. If somebody asks me my body count, like that's something I can't even give because I don't personally know. But I don't think it's a respectful thing.
You think it's not respectful?
Yeah.
You know what else is not respectful? People being on their phones while we're
So
in the middle of a
I
conversation.
literally hate when people do that.
Yeah, you're literally on your
Yeah, it's
phone
so
right
annoying.
now, literally.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
so yeah, you were on your phone. Okay, so what about you?
I think that body count does matter, and it's indicative of a lot of things. I think that there's when bringing up that conversation, I think if first date, you know, guy just comes off super blunt with it, I'm gonna be like, okay, that was distasteful. But I think that if I'm going on a second or let's say third date with somebody, I have significant interest in them because I'm not wasting my time going on a third date with some guy I don't see a future with, in any sense. And hopefully that's the same back. So if on the third date he asks that question in a respectful sense, then I think that that is definitely something that should be disclosed.
First date.
But
First date.
First
he's
date-
not being a dickhead about it, but he's just like,
no,
hey,
okay,
listen,
it's all in delivery. Everything is in
okay,
delivery.
here's the framing. It's not like, what's your body count, whore? The framing is, hey, listen, I'm not interested in something casual. I'm looking for something serious. I happen to think that body count matters. Just, it's something that's important to me. I would like to know what your body count is.
Why is it important? Because of everything else we spoke.
Why is body count important? Two things come to mind. First thing, past behavior is a great indicator of future behavior, and the awareness of that behavior and what an individual takes from it is a great indicator of their potential to develop, of their potential to change their behavior, of their potential to be self-reflective and introspective, I should say. And also the harsh truth, which is if everyone's had a go, your value goes down. Scarcity determines value. If not many people have given it a go, well, obviously you're going to hold a lot more value because you're rarer.
Let me come back to that, but I'll tell you why body count's important. But if he framed it in that way, would that still be disrespectful or rude?
No, I like, honestly, I think the elegant thing to do would say, okay, well, what's the number that's too high for you? And if he said 5,
then I
depending
say 5.
on who I am, no, depending on who I am and what my actual count is, I would say, thank you so much for taking me out. I'd leave half the bill and I'd leave. Or I would say, my number's under that and I'm glad we both value this thing.
Oh, wow.
What's yours?
You're so cordial.
I mean, I suppose that's one way to do it. Okay.
Wait, but I think that if a man sleeps with a woman and then asks her body count and acts like it matters to him, he's out the window. I think that is just garbage.
That's gross.
Wait, what's gross?
So let's say a man sleeps with a woman and he has this, idea in his head, or I shouldn't say idea in his head. If he's has the motive to be in expectation of being in a long-term or looking for a long-term thing, and he sleeps with a woman and then asks what her body count is because it matters to him, shame on him. Because he didn't, then she probably would not have done what she did if she knew.
Isn't that
just masking her behavior? Isn't that just manipulating her behavior to suit the guy, to suit what she thinks he wants, when really, if you've just slept with him anyway, well, then that's a great indicator. Even if the body count's not high, it's still telling behavior. The guy shouldn't have to tell you what he expects first to see if you're compatible, because then you can just mold yourself to his perfect girl, and that's never going to work. So you just got to be yourself, and if that involves sleeping with him and then he asks your body count, well, you've got to hold yourself accountable. You've got to be responsible for your actions. You can't just mold yourself to what you think someone else wants, because then that's not a true indicator of your behavior or who you are at all.
Opinion on it.
Oh, sorry.
Not necessarily, but
if that's the biggest pre-qualifier, I think that's like I said, the most novice and immature pre-qualifier ever.
It's immature to care about a woman's promiscuity.
Immediately, and promiscuity as in how long ago was that, past and present and future, whatever. But why aren't you thinking about how is she in public? How does she treat you? How does she speak to her family? Does she even those things are so much more important, and you can't just get everything hashed out in one date. So that's why I think the first date, that does not make sense.
Just be with someone that has the same values that you. Some men want a freak that has a ton of experience. Some want a little innocent virgin. If they don't like who you are, don't be with them. Don't feel personalized. Just move on. Honestly, it's really not. It's only as deep as you make it. Mm-hmm. And if you want to put your value as a human being on your body count, that's on you. Yeah. And vice versa. If people want to do that to you and you take their opinion to heart, that's on you.
But so many women have a serious issue with this being a preference that men have.
I get that.
A lot of women, a couple of women at the
Find
table
a man
have
that
it.
doesn't.
Do you know? Do you know that you're?
Wait, before I have you go, did you get to give your take on this?
Oh, I think body counts.
If a guy asked.
I wouldn't care. No.
Okay.
I think it's important.
Okay.
I think it's about self-respect for yourself. They want to know you respect yourself.
Sure.
Got high standards. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. What about? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, did you know that when you have sex with a guy, his DNA is inside of you
forever?
Yeah, forever.
For 6 years
there's a study or story.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah, she couldn't even donate bone marrow because this guy's wife tried to donate bone marrow, but she couldn't because his DNA was
Was part
like
of her
was
bone
part
marrow.
of her bone
so
marrow. So every time you
that's
share,
why sex is so spiritual.
Yeah,
and
so
it's like so important.
Totally.
To
I
be
think
very,
it's the highest connection you can choose to have with
So,
someone.
like,
And I think that's why you should have a
sex-
low body count
Yeah.
because it's so
I
spiritual.
think sex is so such a
Sacred.
big thing and should be a valued thing. The same reason that sexual assault is so awful. You know,
And
if,
so- yeah,
you know, punching someone in the
traumatizing.
face is not the same as assaulting,
yeah.
sexually assaulting someone, because
I think she makes a really good point there at the end about how, you know, why sexual assault, genuine sexual assault, is so awful, because it's like, it's just the highest violation, because I think, like she quite rightly said, it's the highest thing that you can intimately share with someone of the opposite sex. I think that's a really interesting point, and I agree with the lady before her, you know, that it's a great indicator of self-respect, how high a lady's body count is. And as I said before that, you know, past behaviour tends to predict future behaviour, but it's also really telling how they perceive their own past behaviour, because it tells you how introspective the person is, and also how self-aware they are, and generally how self-aware a person is correlate to how neurotic they are, how mentally stable they are. All of these things which are important to look for in a substantial long-term partner. What do you think? Do you think body count matters? Why don't you let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up on your way out, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all of my content. I will see you very soon in the next one.